another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. I am your host, Sam Randazzo, and I am joined by my two rather content, I think we're content today, co-hosts. To my right, it is the one and only Uncle Sam.
Hello.
And behind the computer, absolutely fondling his own fava beans, it is Bruce, the tugboat. Venditti.
What's going on?
We're back, couple days late.
Assessing of what we've
taking
witnessed.
in fully and processing the Super Bowl Sunday. Obviously, the Chiefs are this year's Super Bowl champions. Obviously, Bruce wasn't with us the last few days because he was
Inebriated.
He was busy servicing the Chiefs' whole defense. But other than that, we're back.
Okay.
Big Super Bowl. First and foremost, we got to send some thoughts and prayers to Spartan Nation and everybody in East Lansing about the shooting that occurred just a couple of days ago. Our thoughts are with everybody in Spartan family, the entire East Lansing and far beyond community, because when things like this happen, especially this one, it really hits close to home. So thoughts are with them. Obviously, something needs to be done about this, but we're going to leave that at that. Now, next up, get right into it. Super Bowl, Eagles, Chiefs. First thoughts from you. Go.
I'm sorry?
I'm asking you for your first thoughts.
For my assessment of
no, I don't want a full
the actual
assessment.
game?
I don't want a full assessment. You literally said about 45 seconds ago before we started.
I got something to say.
There we go.
I think
it's a huge event seen throughout the world. How many people witnessed that?
I want to say it was over 100 million.
100 million people witnessed this event.
113.1 million.
I don't know what to say about it, except that it was an event, and the product wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad. I think that a lot of people watch this stuff, and they watch so much of these calls that could go either way. And I think when they watch it and they have something vested in it, it kind of clouds their judgment on what's going on. And I think, and I'm going to say myself included, because as I watched the last minute of that game, I was it was kind of anticlimactic from the actual game because of the way the process went down at the end. Not to say that it wasn't right, it wasn't wrong, but it just, the process of a lot of things that were happening toward the end of this game kind of put it was like seeing a great movie and the end suck. That's what it's like.
So I'm going to agree with you and disagree on a couple fronts.
Okay.
As we dig deeper into this. One, I thought in all reality, this Super Bowl, as well as the last one, were extremely exciting, right? If we go back 3 years when it was the Chiefs versus the Buccaneers, game was over from the beginning, in my opinion, watching it. This Super Bowl was awesome to watch. The Chiefs, throughout the whole first half, were always just like one hair away from being in this game. Philadelphia went blow for blow with them, and they kept counter-punching the entire game. I thought it was an absolutely great football game up until the last 2 minutes. And I'm going to say this much. Could they have called that hold? Absolutely. Did they do a very, very, very nice job of keeping their flags in their pockets the whole game? Yes. Up until that point in the game, outside of, we have to go back to look exactly, but I don't remember all that many flags being thrown. And I remember a delay of game. I remember one or two holdings, but like
a lot of it was like neutral zone.
Yes,
by the Chiefs.
For the most part,
by the Chiefs, but
they let these two teams battle it out the whole game. Now,
I agree.
Yeah, and I thought that's exactly the way that a Super Bowl or a high-profile playoff game should be. You let the fucking guys play. The rest are there to make sure shit doesn't get out of hand.
I totally agree with what you're saying. I just don't.
Okay.
I don't agree with you're coming near the end of a game. And there's going to be an infraction here. There's going to be an infraction there. And I get that. You can't allow it a questionable play become the impact of how the game is going to play out for the next the next 50 seconds.
So was that some sort of egregious hold? No.
I don't think it was that bad, but I do think this. That is a play that they kept in their pocket for most of the day. That is the issue. The layman watching this.
I don't know if that many plays, those many
Okay,
plays were
go ahead.
called.
See, you have a great point, and then you go that there's this conspiracy theory where the refs were holding
I'm not
on
saying
to
it
it.
was a fucking conspiracy
That's
at
literally
all.
what you said. You
All
said
I'm
they held it
saying
in their
is this.
pocket.
You held that fucking... You hold these flags in your pockets the entire game. You're letting these guys play. Okay? Did the guy tug on him and stop his momentum? No.
Correct.
Did the guy put his hands on him? Yes. You're allowed to put your hands on a receiver within 5 yards.
Okay.
That play was within 5 yards. Did he hinder the guy's momentum going forward? No. That is not a penalty.
At the end of the day, that's a penalty that would be called in a regular fucking season, week 7 matchup. It is not a call that should have been made to decide who was going to win the Super Bowl. I think that's what you were trying to say.
Yes.
Just wrapped up into a neater package.
Well, you know what?
Okay.
It happened last year.
Ticky-tack fucking call.
It happened last year with Luke Wilson on Cooper Kupp. The same thing fucking happened. Now, that was different. Did that change the outcome of the game? Yes, because then you had the Rams score when they would have kicked a field goal. Mind you, Kansas City would have kicked a field goal and been up in that game. I have no issue with that. I have no issue with that. Right. That would have gave an opportunity for Philadelphia to either choke,
which I think they would have, because the way that game was going. I think
they were either going to choke or they would have came up. They'd had a minute 13 left and 2 fucking timeouts to go downfield.
Yeah, it would have been a complete...
I just think it was anticlimactic the way they ended the fucking game.
Agree.
That call ended the game.
It was a letdown because of that call.
Correct.
And the call...
That's all I'm saying.
With the flow of how the refs were calling the game, that call wouldn't even have made sense to be called there. That's the point of this. Could it have been a penalty in a different situation? Absolutely. The problem is when you have as good of a game as you had and you have the referees staying out of it as much as you had, a call like that is so surprising that it just takes all of the air out of this game.
Exactly. You are exactly right.
It took the air completely out of the game.
When you do stuff like that, it turns people off.
Correct.
Of watching.
You know what I did see? When they would line up on the 1 and Jalen Hurts would go over. Do the QB
that used to be illegal in the NFL.
Right.
You couldn't do that.
The QB
Why
sneak,
they brought that back is beyond me.
Okay,
I don't like it.
But you know how usually when guys are getting that low and both teams are right there and you know where the ball is going, usually refs kind of slide on the neutral zone infractions and stuff. Usually those guys.
No, you know what? I'm going to say this.
Close.
I'm going to say this, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think guys lining up in the neutral zone all night.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Every time that fucking play happened, somebody was over.
But the flag was being called.
Yeah.
Outside of that officiating decision, I'm not going to call it a blunder. I'm not going to call it a.
Well, I thought there was a lot of plays they missed.
Okay.
I thought the Pacheco play.
Don't have an issue with it.
I thought.
Right. Yeah.
Nick Bolton should have had 2 fumble returns for touchdowns.
You're out of your mind, dude.
That was a catch.
Listen to me. You want to call that a catch? That's fine.
I think it was a catch.
Then the sideline fucking catch that AJ Brown had should have been a fucking catch too. And you could sit here and go tit for tat on it all day. At the end of the day,
which catch are you talking about?
The one
that he fumbled
the one
on.
where he fumbled. It was not.
Miles Sanders fumbled the ball. Nick Bolton picked it up
and
ran it in for a touchdown.
You know, it wasn't a catch. Was
to me,
Dallas Goedert.
Right. They were trying to say, Goddard, whoever. They're trying to say that wasn't a catch. I personally thought that if you're looking at that, the problem is this. They throw these replays on. The replays are in super, super, super fucking slow-mo.
Correct.
That is a problem. That is a fucking problem because when you watch that play, it was a bang, bang play. Bang, bang.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Okay.
But
I personally thought that was a catch and a fumble.
Okay.
That was my opinion.
Now, here's the issue. Nobody actually knows what a catch is and what a catch isn't.
That is becoming an issue.
That's the problem. Because if it was the first time you're watching football, all right.
Now I remember.
The first time you're watching football, that sideline catch was a fucking catch.
Devontae Smith.
Correct. And the fumble on Miles Sanders wasn't. It didn't look like he caught the ball.
I thought it was.
He made a football
I
move.
thought he had possession of it.
He made a football
What?
move.
But see, here we
He
go.
turned
We're gonna say-
forward.
No, he didn't make a
you're
football
wrong.
Is that not a football
He
move?
did not
made
make
two
a football
steps.
move, but he did possess the ball. Both feet were planted. And he
Right.
just
But
got
that's
hit.
not a catch.
To me, it was a catch.
Okay, to you,
He had
and what
possession
the
of the ball.
rules to you and what the rules are two different things. Because how many times do we see a guy in the end
No, you're
zone
right.
possess the ball and get 2 feet in and it don't fucking count?
Yes.
At the end of the day, nobody knows what a catch actually is.
True.
We don't, as people watching, the people playing don't, and the referees fucking don't. Nobody knows what a catch actually is because you can have one play that looks identical to the next, and one's a catch and one isn't. That is the fundamental issue with two very, very big calls in that game, both the fumble and the sideline catch. Because I saw the first one, and there's no question in my mind that was a catch. None. He held the ball against his helmet. It was a catch.
Yeah, but then
And
he released.
the other one on
that
A.J.
possibly
Brown
cost them 7 points.
The other one on A.J. Brown,
was bobbling off his helmet.
it didn't bobble off his fucking helmet.
bobbled off
He
his
had one
helmet.
hand with the
It was
the
on his
ball
helmet. It was a
firmly
catch.
planted
Off
against
his
his helmet. And I know you don't remember because you're 7 years old, but go ahead and say it. David Tyree
in the Super
exact
Bowl
same
against the
catch.
Patriots.
The exact
That
same
wasn't a
catch.
fucking catch.
The helmet catch.
So
At the end of the day, that was. The one on A.J. Brown on the sideline should have been a catch because technically the ground is not supposed to cause the fumble. Devonta Smith, excuse me. The ground's not supposed to cause the ball. He had it all the way until he was already out of bounds on the ground. So we need an explanation on that one. The one for Miles Sanders, I personally didn't think it was a catch. A lot of people did. There wasn't. They need to put down a specific time and stopwatch it or something because Miles Sanders had the ball in his hand for 2 seconds, and everybody wanted to say it was a fumble. To me, that did not look like a catch.
The only play that infuriated me in this whole game, and I'm going to be honest with you, was the fucking punt return. The punt return from fucking Tony, Kadarius Toney.
You know, you sat there.
I watched these guys jogging down. I'm not saying anything that Tony did anything wrong, but I'm watching the Philadelphia Eagle punt coverage team jogging downfield.
Listen,
I'm like, what?
I went back and watched
fuck?
this. I went back and
And
watched
I'm
this
right.
play. You want me to be honest with
Yeah.
you? They looked extremely out of position.
Nobody would to make the tackle. They just stood there.
One, everybody was extremely out of position on that play. They all looked confused, which I don't understand why. Because in all reality, a punt return's real simple. You go tackle the motherfucker with the ball.
Exactly.
They for some reason Philadelphia did look stupid.
That did not look
on that play.
That did not look weird to you.
At the same time, going back and watching it, Kadarius, and I'm not a big Kadarius Toney guy. It's very well documented here. The way he moves with the football in his hand, he made everybody on the fucking field look slow on that play. And I honestly think it was more him than Philadelphia was completely out of position. Because when he turned it and he hit the other side of the field, there was nobody out there who was catching
Listen,
him.
I'm going to be honest.
There was
with you.
nobody.
The lack of effort
Look at
I've
this.
seen on that play.
He's
You had 6
gone.
guys there.
There's 8
One
guys
guy
right
went
there.
to make the tackle.
And by the time-
the other ones fucking stood
Listen to me.
there.
By the time he cut up, it was done. There was nobody out there. that was
There's a
gonna catch
push
him.
in the back.
Block in the back. Either way, we can
happens
sit
every
here.
time.
We can sit
I'm
here.
sorry?
Happens every time, dude.
Okay.
What was that?
He said it happens every time.
All the time.
Either way.
Okay.
Every time.
Either way. Yes,
whatever.
that was another blow.
Whatever.
No call
We
that
watched the play.
we talked about.
I thought that play killed Philadelphia.
Well,
Killed any momentum they had.
and guess what? That was a huge moment in the game because Kansas City had scored moments before that. Here's the thing. Refereeing aside, all right, if we actually want to break down the game, take the refereeing and take the conspiracy theorying out of it. There was one X factor for me in this game, And I'm going to talk about that before we get into the actual play. Philadelphia all year has prided themselves on one thing and one thing only. They were the sack leaders. They were third in total interceptions. Their defense has made very, very good teams look very, very, very bad. They were first in points against. Nobody could score on them. Nobody could run the ball on them. And they were third in total passing defense. So nobody could manufacture points against this Philadelphia team. At the end of the day, Philadelphia had more than 5 chances in this game to make a big play. Philadelphia allowed 24 points in the second half of this game. They averaged 21 points in total. Point blank period. Philadelphia's defense did not step up once in the second half of this game. They did not get one stop. They couldn't force one turnover. They could not get Pat Mahomes to go 3 and out one time in the second half of this game.
Well, that's because of what the Chiefs were doing, not because of what they were doing.
Again, Philadelphia, the best defense in football. If you cannot make, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about how good the Chiefs' offense is. Pat Mahomes threw for 150 yards, 182 yards.
Pat Mahomes was getting rid of the ball under.
Don't care.
Under 3 seconds.
I don't care. I do not care. Philadelphia, You are the number 1 defense in football. Number 1. By a wide margin. You couldn't get to Pat Mahomes one time all day?
Yeah.
One time. The Philadelphia defense completely fell apart in the second half of this game. And I know you're going to sit there and say that's not the fucking case. At the end of the day, when you allow 24 points and a half, I don't care who you are, that's a fall apart. That's a fall apart. And Andy Reid outcoached Nick Sirianni to a fucking T. That's it. You got to get one stop. You're not asking for much. You're asking for the number 1 defense in football to get one stop. Because in my opinion in this game, Pat Mahomes was not all that impressive. He was not. And everybody wants to crown this guy. At the end of the day, he was not all that impressive.
180 yards.
He threw for 180 yards and
with
3
a bum
touchdowns.
Ankle and sliding on that.
Get the fuck out of here with the
and
bum
sliding
ankle.
on that
ankle,
grass.
fuck
Everybody
outta
was
here with the
sliding
bum
on that
ankle.
Suck a
grass.
cock
dude.
with the
He
ankle.
could suck a cock with the ankle too.
The ankle, there was nothing wrong with his
There was
ankle.
absolutely nothing wrong with his
He
ankle.
proved that.
Wow.
He proved
Okay.
that on his little fucking.
Okay,
40
torn
on his 20
meniscus.
What?
Scramble.
On his 26-yard run where he ran through everybody on Philadelphia's
Yeah, man.
defense?
Game
Stop.
on the line, man.
Fuck out
Game
of
on
here
the
with
line.
that. The ankle
Fuck
thing, he's an
outta
actor.
here.
He's LeBron James flopping with the fucking ankle.
Thank you.
And I don't want to
And
hear
that's
it.
exactly what the NFL is turning into. The NBA.
I don't want to hear it. Guess what? If you have a serious high ankle sprain where you're on the sideline crying and getting it massaged, you shouldn't be going for a 26-yard
I seen a picture of him with his
5 minutes later.
WWE belt on.
Yeah.
That's exactly what football's turning into.
At the end of the day,
Scripted, garbage fucking wrestling.
At the end of the day, give Mahomes his credit where credit's due because guess what? He's 2-time Super Bowl champion.
He should not be the MVP. That's bullshit.
And at the end of the day, he is the reason why they won the game.
He is
He's
not the reason why they won the ball game.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
yes,
he
he
is.
is. Because exactly what we thought was going to happen.
I have somebody else that should have been the MVP in that game.
Go ahead. Take Nick Bolton's dick out of
Isaiah
your mouth.
Pacheco. He ran
Again,
for 72 yards in that game.
Great. Big
against
deal.
against a very good defense.
Big deal. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't want to hear that.
That's
He
that's-
did have a
Guess
good
to
game.
what?
me. He was
did have a
he
good
was the
game.
MVP.
He had a good game. He's not the most valuable player.
I think he
because
was.
If any other quarterback was in there besides Pat Mahomes, including Jalen Hurts, because he had, in my opinion, one of the biggest plays of the game when he fumbled it away. Beside that, if any other quarterback was in there besides Patrick Mahomes, they would not have won the game. They wouldn't have because he turned it up.
I don't think that we're giving enough credit to the backup quarterback on the Kansas City Chiefs.
At the end of the day,
Without him, they wouldn't even have been there.
listen to me. You are so far. You are in outer space right now.
Why? Why?
At the end of the day, Pat Mahomes
You're
did
forgetting the drive against Jacksonville?
Come on, dude.
All right.
Come on.
All right.
Let's be real here for a minute now.
We are being real.
We're going to sit here and talk about how Chad Henne had such an impact.
Chad
on
Henne.
this.
And God bless Chad Henne. He retired.
Pat Mahomes turned the cuteness meter on exactly when he needed to, and he willed them to win this game. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. Because in the first half, he was extremely unimpressive. Extremely.
I thought he was actually very cute in the first half.
He wasn't. And that was the difference maker.
I don't know.
In
I
the
feel like
second
he
half of that
wasn't
game-
as cute in the second
in
half.
the second
I
half
feel
of
like they
that
all
game-
kinda got
He
their
almost
shit
got
together,
cute and almost turned the ball over.
and they were making passes, getting the ball down the field.
He had 80 yards in the first half. He had 80 yards.
He had 100 yards in the second half.
Isaiah Pacheco had 40 yards of rushing in the first half. The Chiefs were extremely unimpressive in the first half of this game. And if you go by the numbers, they were extremely unimpressive the whole game.
Well, Pacheco's numbers are nice. 15 carries, 79 yards, 5.1 a carry,
Yeah, that's what Jalen Hurts
okay,
did.
and had a
along with 3
touchdown.
touchdowns.
And had a fucking touchdown.
That's what Jalen Hurts did along with 3 touchdowns.
I think he did a great job.
So,
I think
again-
Pacheco did a great job.
again, they were unimpressive, in my opinion.
I thought that was
Pat
impressive.
Mahomes turned on the cuteness meter. Andy Reid changed up the play calling. They got Kadarius Toney on wheel routes and shit coming out of the backfield. Then you toss Sky Moore in there, and Philadelphia had no answer. They had no idea what to do. Kudos to Andy Reid because he adjusted better than any coach I've ever seen at the half. I said that 2 weeks ago. Go ahead, counter me.
I didn't say anything.
Counter me.
I didn't say
24
nothing.
points against the number 1 defense in the second half, and he didn't have an impressive turnaround.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
You had made the statement that he's done it better than anyone.
Anybody else?
That's not true.
Who?
Bill Belichick. Nobody better at halftime adjustments than Bill Belichick.
Guess what? Guess what? You want me to be real with you? You want me to be real? Throw Bill Belichick out and put Andy Reid in the Patriots organization, and guess what? They're a playoff team.
Okay.
They're a playoff team. Because the difference is Andy Reid actually recruits talent and utilizes it. Because every other team in the league wanted to write off Kadarius Toney.
Okay.
Every
other team in the league wanted to write off.
Now,
Hold on.
come on, dude.
Come on, what?
I'm on a roll here.
Kadarius
Go
Toney
ahead,
just a
go ahead.
return man?
Devontae Parker? Is that what we're going to talk about?
No, we're not gonna
Jacoby
talk about
Myers? Come on.
Randy Moss. Nobody wanted
Oh.
Randy Moss. After he got fucking kicked out of fucking the Raiders, nobody wanted Randy Moss. You know who took Randy Moss? Bill Belichick.
Randy Moss is one of the top 3 best wide receivers in NFL history. He's
Yes,
not
but he was a
Kadarius
cast
Toney.
out. He was cast out of fucking Oakland.
He's not. I mean, we're going to compare Randy Moss and Kadarius Toney.
No, but you said
Come on, dude.
that Bill Belichick, he can't resurrect people. He did.
I didn't say resurrect.
Corey
I said
Dillon.
make the moves to bring him in.
Corey Dillon. Left for dead.
This is
kicked
20
out of
years
fucking-
ago.
Kicked out of Cincinnati. Left for dead. Comes to the fucking Patriots, wins the Super Bowl.
Guess what? When he does it in this decade, then we can talk about it. Because Andy Reid outcoaches
Andy
Belichick,
Reid,
outcoaches
Bill
and
Belichick's older
outmanages.
than Andy Reid.
What, by 6 months? Come on. In the last decade, Bill Belichick hasn't pulled his dick out of his pants to make one sort of dramatic move ever. Period. Andy Reid, right now as it stands, would coach circles around Belichick. And I truly believe that.
It's all Robert Kraft's fault.
Back to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes should not have been MVP of this game for one reason and one reason only. Because Jalen Hurts, outside of the fumble, was impeccable in this game. Okay? And at the end of the day,
I think he proved he's a better quarterback.
he didn't prove he's a better quarterback.
To me, he did.
He did not. He did not.
To me, he did.
At the end of the day, in this game, they should have given MVP to the loser in Jalen Hurts. And I know it has not been done in a long time, but he was the most valuable player in this game. He was 27 of 38 for 305 yards and a passing touchdown, the QBR of 103, and he ran for 70 and 3 touchdowns. And outside of the one fumble, which again was one of the most crucial plays in the game for me, outside of that one fumble, he was immaculate in this game. Period. That is the kind of guy you want leading your organization going forward. Not saying Patrick Mahomes isn't, because right now, as it stands, Patrick Mahomes is the NFL's golden boy, and he's going to continue to be. He does everything right. But at the end of the day, in this game, Jalen Hurts outplayed him. That's it in a nutshell for me. Jalen Hurts had no help running the ball. Absolutely none. Unless Uncle Sam wants to sit here and gargle Kenneth Gainwell's 21 total yards. And he got bailed out a whole lot by Devonta Smith, who had 100 yards receiving. All right. A.J.
His
Brown.
little WWE belt. That's what the NFL is. Wrestling. It's garbage.
He had a nice supporting cast. But at the end of the day, he doesn't have anybody on his team. He doesn't have anybody on that team that could give him any sort of run support. Where was Miles Sanders? Where was Kenneth Gainwell?
Well, Gainwell
Non-existent.
actually was more productive than Sanders was, so
We're gonna call 7 for 21 productive.
he's more productive than I thought he was more productive than Sanders was. Sanders, he looked totally out of sync.
That's it in a nutshell for me. Jalen Hurts.
You know, a
should
lot
have
of that
won
has to
MVP
do
in
with
that
coaching
game.
too.
Huh?
You see guys ain't ready and ain't prepared to play. A lot of that's got to do with coaching.
Well, going back to the coaching, what was Kansas City throwing at Philadelphia that they hadn't seen in the run game?
Right.
What are you throwing at them? Again, Philadelphia, top 5 in the league in total rushing yards. Where are you? I mean, it's Jalen Hurts. Everybody wanted to crown Miles Sanders before this game. And I got news for you.
I don't think they're going to re-up him, dude. He's a free
there's
agent. I got a feeling he's gone.
There ain't one running back on that Eagles roster that is truly worth a fuck, because I'll be honest with you, the Eagles have one of the best offensive lines in football, and they showed it in the Super Bowl too. But none of those guys could get a step. None of them.
Well,
That's why, in my heart of hearts, I believe Jalen Hurts should have won the MVP of this game, because he did it by himself. I truly think
they don't give the MVP to the loser, bud.
they have. They have on
When's the
multiple
last time
occasions.
they've done that? When's the last time have you ever heard of a team that loses a guy get a fucking MVP in a Super Bowl?
Chuck Howley, 1961.
Yeah, thank you. I wasn't even fucking born yet. Hello?
You sound like him now.
Chuck Howley. Jalen Hurts should have been the next Chuck Howley. And how can you disagree?
I think Nick Bolton should have been MVP.
Either way.
No, I would have gave the MVP to Pacheco. He ran hard. He was the catalyst of that offense in the second half for them to do what they were going to do.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
You want to talk about Isaiah Pacheco? Let's talk about Isaiah Pacheco. All right? At the end of the day, 2 years ago, Clyde Edwards-Helaire made big plays in the Super Bowl, had a great fucking season. He was the golden boy. The year after, he was going at the 1-2 turn in fantasy drafts. All right? And where is he now? He's going to be
Edwards-Helaire?
bagging groceries at Publix in a couple weeks. All right? So at the end of the day, we're going to sit here and crown Isaiah Pacheco when you could sit there and throw any running back.
I guarantee you Isaiah Pacheco will be the starter next year on that team.
You're right. You're right.
Guaranteed.
And I'll bet you $10 he won't be in 2024.
I don't know.
Because
we
at
haven't
the
got
end of the
that far
day,
yet.
it's a system thing with the Chiefs quarterback.
matter.
And I truly believe that. All right? Clyde Edwards-Helaire did it. There were times this year where Jerick McKinnon looked like fucking Barry Sanders. So let's not get all in this Pacheco train. I ain't on it. Because there's a whole lot of games this year where he was supposed to be the fucking guy and he wasn't. And we're going to sit here and give an MVP to a running back who had 76 yards and a touchdown.
We're going to give it to
Jalen Hurts
We're going to
did
give
it.
it to a quarterback that threw for 180 yards.
Well, you're going to sit here and justify Pacheco winning it when Jalen Hurts matched his numbers and had 2 more touchdowns. And threw
They
the ball.
lost.
And threw
The
the
Eagles
ball.
lost. The Eagles
Doesn't matter.
lost.
It's most valuable player. And you are hard-pressed to tell me Jalen Hurts was not the most valuable player in that
He
game.
is on the Eagles, and they lost.
No, he was the most
That's why he's not
valuable
gonna get the
player in
fucking
the
award.
game. He was the most valuable player
You honestly
in the game.
think in this day and age of the popularity contest that they were going to give that award to fucking Jalen Hurts? and
Whether or
lost?
not they were going to. Whether or not they were going to.
Not
you're going to
gonna
sit here
happen.
and tell me Isaiah Pacheco.
Not up in here.
Most valuable player, Isaiah Pacheco, was the most
I
valuable
thought-
player on the field.
I personally thought that his performance is the reason why Kansas City won this game.
God bless. Just don't understand. Devonta Smith, 7 receptions, 100 yards.
You could probably give it to Kelce before you could give it to Pacheco.
Agree. I'd give it to Kelce over Pacheco, too.
Juju Smith-Schuster had 7 receptions, too, for 50 yards.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
Why do you look for those low numbers?
and he was targeted fucking 10 times.
now, Going forward.
And actually, you know what? Smith got robbed out of about a 45-yard catch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Devonta Smith had 150 yards.
He really proved he's a number one receiver.
Well, I'll be honest
I believe
with you,
he is.
and I was watching this throughout the game. Those two are a very underrated duo because Antonio Brown, God, I never want to confuse that. A.J. Brown drew a shitload of
double team.
Oh,
yeah.
Constantly. They double teamed him next the whole game. He still had 6 receptions for 96 yards and a touchdown. But that allowed Devonta Smith to have the game that he did.
I
7
agree.
for 100. Those two going forward, I truly think if they can keep this band together, because Goddard, I get it. Kelce is the number 1 tight end in football, and it's by a margin. But Goddard is, in my opinion, the way he plays, the way he runs, I mean, there was that one play on the sideline. Goddard looked like a receiver. He looked like a watered down version of Travis Kelce to me. I think if Goddard stays healthy and these two, Philadelphia is going to be right back here again next year. And I truly, truly believe that. I do.
And they got some experience now, which is huge. Believe it or not, you can say what you want to say. The Kansas City Chiefs have experience of being in the Super Bowl and being in these playoff games every year for the past 4 years.
I think everybody agrees with that.
And that means something, obviously, going forward.
You know.
So going forward, the Chiefs are favorites to win the Super Bowl next year. Philadelphia fell down to like 4th or 5th.
You know what? Their division is their conference and their division is so competitive. You got to wait and see what happens.
Guess
here.
what?
I'm sorry.
Guess what? You
What?
said it all year, and I'm going to say it now. The road to the Super Bowl next year.
I
runs
said
through
that.
Kansas
Went through
City.
Kansas City.
Correct.
I get it.
I'm going to agree with that again for next year.
Well, I mean,
Because
next
guess
year
what?
ain't here yet. We have there's a lot of shit with free agency. They could lose a lot of guys. So we'll see what happens.
Who are they going to lose? Juju? They lost. Everybody forgets they lost Tariq Hill.
Yeah.
They lost Tariq Hill and came out and did this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again,
You got to see what's going to happen here.
I'm going to give all the
You got
credit.
a bunch of quarterbacks that are going to be fucking moving around here real soon.
Derek Carr to the Saints is going to be a real threat for a Super Bowl.
And the end of this thing. Well, it's not only that.
I just saw a headline here. Could
In
be
2
golf.
more years, you're going to have the relocating of teams pretty soon. You'll have 2 more teams joining the NFC.
What?
You're going to have 2 teams joining the NFC.
You heard it here first.
What the hell?
You heard it here first.
Talking.
We're breaking news.
Yeah, what?
Not breaking news. They already announced it.
They announced what, dude?
They're going to add. You're going to have teams that are in Europe that are going to be part of the NFL.
Where do you come up
within the
with
next
this
2
shit,
years,
dude? Where do you come up with this?
I'm just telling you. Within the next.
You heard it here first.
The
We'd
NFL
like to
wants to
break
go
some
international, and that's what's going to happen here I would say within the next 4 years, you'll see.
Now it's just grown.
You'll
2 more
see at
years.
least fucking 2 more teams added, if not 4.
Okay.
All right. Say what you want to say.
I mean, it's not that.
You heard it first. You heard it from me.
I sit here and talk about how I think that the road to the Super Bowl runs through Kansas City next year, and you tell me I'm jumping too far ahead. We have no idea what's going to happen, and then throw in that in 2029 they're going to put teams in Dublin. Anyways,
Chinese spy balloon.
Watch. You guys obviously don't look at any of the videos.
We're just talking about.
So anyway.
listen, why are we talking about some dude on Instagram who thinks they're going to put teams in Europe in 2 years?
It's going to happen.
They don't know what the fuck. That's not going to happen.
It's going to happen.
All right? Here we go. At the end of the day, the road to the Super Bowl does indeed lead through Kansas City because there's nobody in that division. All right? And I took the bait this year. I took the hook. All right? I bought into the Chargers. I bought into the Raiders. I bought into Denver. I bought into all these AFC teams that I thought were going to fucking give them a run for their money this year. And guess what? Out of the top 15 teams in Super Bowl odds next year, 11 of them come from the AFC. So I don't want to hear it because at the end of the day, we know how this shit goes. And nothing that happens outside of Aaron Rodgers moving around, and guess what? I don't even know how much he still wants to play football. Outside of him moving around, there's no big change that's going to happen that's going to make an instant impact on one of these teams. It's not. Kansas City showed it. They showed exactly what they needed to. They went in and they punched the number one defense in the league right in the mouth. A defense that we crowned. A defense that I thought was better than the Broncos against the Panthers in Super Bowl 50. A defense that they were comparing to the 84 Bears on NFL Network before the game.
That's a little crazy right there.
That's where we were at.
2000 Ravens. No.
A defense that they said was only second to the 84 Bears.
85 Bears.
85 Bears, excuse me. That was better than all of them. And Kansas City punched them in the mouth. So I'm sorry.
No, the 85 Bears dominated.
I'm
from
sorry.
Start to finish. They lost one game that year. You know who they lost to?
No.
The Miami Dolphins and Dan Marino.
There you go.
Dan Marino killed the vaunted Bears defense.
That's who this Philadelphia team was being compared
And
to.
they just didn't beat them. They embarrassed them.
That's who
And
this
then
Philadelphia.
Chicago went on a fucking terror after that.
So, in my opinion, this is easy. The road to the Super Bowl leads through Kansas City. Pat Mahomes is going to be the new face. He took a break there for a year, but he's going to be this is it.
It's disgusting.
We are living in a Chiefs-ran NFL now. And then guess
we are
what?
living in the WWE.
The Chiefs dynasty going forward, because, if they're in this again next year, that's 4 Super Bowls. There are 4 Super Bowl appearances in 6 years. That's a dynasty. And I'm sorry. As much as I hate it, fucking hate it.
Not a fucking
I thought
dynasty.
you have to win to, I win to win 3, right? What are they at?
He's got 2.
Yeah.
He's got 2.
So one more.
I'm sorry, but that's where I'm at, because I don't think there's anybody in who's gonna compare to that. All in all, to sum it up, I thought the Super Bowl was extremely entertaining. I thought it was a great football game. I think that they had just the right amount. It wasn't as overdone as LA was last year.
No, thank God they didn't have the fucking Rock there. I would have fucking puked half the night.
Next year, obviously, is Las Vegas, so God knows what that's going to be. But
Circus Olay.
I'm not going to lie. As far as football goes, that was one of the best. That was truly one of the best that I can remember. It was great. Any other takeaways?
Rihanna has the biggest forehead I've ever seen.
Bigger than Bruce's?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bruce, any other takeaways? What do you think?
What do I think about the game? It was actually a really fucking good game. It was a really good game. There's nothing else you could really say about it. You summed it.
I hope the NFL.
The grass thing really pissed me off.
Yeah, the field
pissed
was
me off.
awful. And you know what the problem was, I think? And I know this is going to sound weird. I thought it was too short. I think that the grass would have been longer. It didn't have enough root in it. And that's why these guys were falling all over the place.
They'd never used it before.
Huh?
They'd never used it before.
And I'll tell you
that
what.
was the test.
They painted the field. They painted these logos on the field, and everybody was falling on the logos. I think they need to stay away from that. Let the grass get a little bit longer. It was like a goddamn putting green.
Or just play on
regular
horrible grass.
Huh?
Play on dirt grass, real grass from the earth.
What are you talking about?
Play on grass.
Yeah.
That was grass.
That was
I
actual
don't have
grass.
a problem with
It's
them
been
being on grass.
800,000 on grass, yes.
The problem
fuck
was
was
the
like-
grass was so short, there was no root system. So the fucking cleats were just fucking sliding on it.
Oh, I thought that was some new type of.
No,
like,
they had
fake
to
grass
change their
type shit.
cleats. They changed their cleats, and that still didn't help.
Yeah, I
because it
saw
wasn't mature
mounds
enough.
of cleats that were piled up. Yeah,
You can't grow grass in Arizona, dude. It's fucking 150
Shit.
degrees there. The fucking shit burns out. You know?
well, it's kind of like
That's what it is. The field was awful. Listen, when
got
you got
sunlight,
guys
but-
on both sides talking about how horrendous the field conditions were because they were falling all over the
Well,
place, which gives the advantages to the offense. When when defensive line guys are falling right off the snap, you could watch these guys fucking hitting their knees coming out of their fucking stance, and the offensive guys are barely doing anything to keep them off. It's obviously an advantage for the offenses on both sides.
Yeah.
But it was horrible. They need to, you know what? Don't have one in Arizona anymore.
I mean, they're not going to do that.
It's just,
It's gonna
dude,
be a while till
that
it
field is
but we're not
trash,
gonna do
dude.
that.
That field is trash.
They brought in a whole new field for the game.
That's
They
the
weren't
problem.
using it was all new grass. They fucking had people 24 hours a day. They're dealing with it. They would roll it out every morning so he could get sun and bring it back in. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, something went wrong, but I mean, when you spend $800,000 on
and they're
grass,
going to roll it out every morning.
you spent $800,000 on grass. I think somebody dropped the ball there.
Yeah. Whoever they were need to be fired and never brought back in again.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a little bit more to talk about here than the Super Bowl. So let's get into that. Obviously, Chad Henne did retire, as Uncle Sam broke earlier.
That's right.
So,
God bless Chad Henne.
God bless Chad Henne. Jaguars wide receiver Calvin Ridley, who was suspended all season, was eligible to apply for reinstatement to the NFL today, and he did. And all I've got to say is that Jaguars offense, if they can keep the band together and they can throw Calvin Ridley into the mix, my God, is that going to be a scary offense going forward? Absolutely love that.
I agree. I agree.
Vic
Coaching
Fangio,
chance, some coaching
situations. Yeah, getting into that. Vic Fangio is now the new defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
I know you don't really love that.
I'm not a Fangio guy. I'm not into him.
Correct.
Personally, I think he's overrated. That's my opinion of him.
The Las Vegas Raiders,
Yes.
10 minutes before his $40.1 million guarantee kicked in, cut quarterback Derek Carr yesterday, allowing him to go and do what he pleases. So now, the big question is, where does Derek Carr end up? Supposedly there are 4 suitors, including the Saints, the Panthers, the Jets, and I'm forgetting one right now. Oh, Tampa Bay. Excuse me. Tampa Bay. So there's 4.
So if you're Derek Carr,
if I'm Derek Carr, I'm telling you right now.
where would you go?
Well, I would eliminate 2 right off the bat if I was Derek Carr.
I would eliminate the Jets.
I would eliminate the Jets in Carolina.
Why Carolina?
Because I know you got this hard on for Carolina, but they're going to keep Sam Darnold there, and you're going to have to fucking fight it out.
I think they like Sam Darnold.
I
They
know
got
they
the
do.
young
Fuck
kid there,
that.
Sam Howell.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I would stay as far away from that situation as possible. I would either say the Saints because the Saints have to load up on weapons, and you could be a part of that and kind of build it up. Saints are also very loyal to their quarterbacks.
Yeah, offensively, they're very young, too.
Mm-hmm.
And
Defensively,
they're out of cap purgatory hell that they were in 2 years ago.
Correct. So the Saints is one option. Or, I mean,
What's Tampa?
at the end of
I
the day,
say either Tampa or the
Tampa
Saints
Bay.
is the 2 best opportunities for him.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I do.
Either one of those teams, I think, is a good opportunity for him. Atlanta's looking for a quarterback, too.
Absolutely.
So I wouldn't
Well, no, I
cross
think
them out of this.
I don't think they take
The
Desmond Ridder.
Colts are
where they
looking
did
for a
if they're gonna-
quarterback.
I don't think he's
Colts.
going to the Colts. I don't think
Atlanta.
so. If you want to talk about swirling rumors here, the Colts, it looks like, are going to go and try and trade up in this draft.
Well, they've signed. Who did they sign this week? Who's their head coach now?
Their head coach is
The
former
defensive coordinator from
Philadelphia offensive
Oh,
coordinator.
I'm sorry, offensive.
Steichen. So that was my next point. Colts have a new head coach. Shane Steichen, offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, is going to Indianapolis. They had a press conference yesterday with Chris Ballard and Jim Irsay. I did not catch it, but I'm sure there would have been a lot of quotable moments
at
from
least
that.
Jim Irsay sobered up enough to know that his Jeff Saturday thing wasn't going to fucking work.
Well, Irsay came out yesterday and said that he knows that they're going to have to find a young quarterback to develop. So I think that kind of takes Derek Carr and any of these other one-year fixes for the Colts out of the equation. And Irsay went on to say that Alabama kid doesn't look bad.
Okay.
So does Jim Irsay sell the entire house to trade up to get Bryce Young? I guess we're going to have to wait to find out.
Well, if they do, they're going to have to talk to Chicago.
Well, Philadelphia also lost their defensive coordinator. Jonathan Gannon is the new head coach of the Arizona Cardinals.
That's interesting.
I like that hire. I do.
And they're picking at 5, I believe.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Let's check that out.
5 or 3? 3.
Let's see.
I thought they were picking at
3. Arizona picks at 3. Colts pick at 4. So I think there's going to be a lot of movement amongst the top 5 in this draft. That's just way too early prediction.
So do you think?
Here's the thing.
I don't see Arizona taking a quarterback in this draft.
No, neither do I.
I don't see that.
I don't see Chicago, Arizona, or Seattle taking a quarterback in this draft.
Correct.
Those are your top 5, or Detroit at 6. So realistically, it's going to be a competition to get to that number 1 pick for Bryce Young, in my opinion. And I think that in on that sweepstakes is Indianapolis, the Raiders, and Carolina, who are all picking
Do you think
top
you'll
10.
see 3 quarterbacks go in the first 5 picks?
No. Yes. No. No. No, because
Okay.
I think I think one of in the first 5, the only one who needs a quarterback realistically, and I think is willing to mortgage their future to get him, is
Texans?
Indianapolis. No, is Indianapolis. Because
So you don't think the Houston Texans are going to take a quarterback?
I think that, no, I do, but I think the Texans are going to kind of wait it out, because you're forgetting they pick again at 12.
They have 2 picks.
They pick again at 12 is what I'm saying.
They have the collateral to move up into the top 5.
They're
Top
in the
fucking
top
3.
5. They're 2. But what I'm saying is
2 and 12.
Are they going to sacrifice that 12th pick to move to 1?
To get
Or do
their
you
guy?
let the Colts do it and wait till 12 and take your guy? I think that's how that's going to unfold. I really do. Because outside of that, I don't really see the only quarterback I see going top 10 is Bryce Young. It's just like last year. I think all this shit is a smokescreen. I mean, why not take Stroud? Maybe Stroud goes to Carolina at 9.
Yeah.
But again,
Will Levis?
I don't see Levis going top 10. I don't.
Really?
I don't. Everybody was saying that. Do you remember when last year Malik Willis was supposed to go to the Lions at 3?
At 2?
At 2, wherever they put 2, 3. Yeah.
2.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's going to be the same shit.
No, it wasn't 2. Was it 2?
They picked it 2. Yeah, Hutchinson at 2. I truly think
it was 3.
you're going to see Bryce Young go with the top, one of the top 2 picks.
I think you're going to see Stroud, Young, and probably Levis go within the top 10 picks.
Either way, that eliminates all of those from the Derek Carr conversation. So,
But we still don't know what the Jets are doing. The Jets are picking.
Jets are not taking a quarterback.
Okay.
No chance.
No,
Why would
because
you
they're,
want
they're,
that
they're
clusterfuck?
putting all their eggs in the basket like Denver did.
Well, at the end of the day, that's what they have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have
Yeah, but
you
Denver
got
might
a
have
first
just found
you got a
solution.
first round. You took Sam Darnold with an extremely. Was Darnold 1-1?
He was a first round pick, Sam Darnold.
Yeah, but I mean,
Not first overall, but he was a first round pick.
where did he go? They drafted Darnold with the 3rd pick. Okay, then you turn around
And you draft Zach Wilson.
and you draft Zach Wilson with, I believe, the 2nd pick. So
Correct.
obviously, you can't wait.
They moved on from Darnold.
Yeah, and they're about to move on
They
from Zach
drafted
Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
So here you go, point blank period. You can't burn more capital on a quarterback who's they're gonna have, you figure if they draft a first round quarterback, they're, again, statistically, you're not making the playoffs with a first year QB. Statistically, that's not how it works.
It's happened, but statistically.
Statistically, it ain't how it works.
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy, there's the exception to the rule.
Didn't Tim Tebow do it?
Dan Marino.
Wait till the last pick.
Dan Marino
As a rookie?
as a rookie.
Was Tim Tebow not a rookie?
No, I don't think, no.
He was in his second year.
He was in his second
Denver?
year.
Here, yeah.
Second year.
Oh.
Although, as a rookie, he took them to the playoffs. They beat the Jets.
And lost the Patriots.
They beat Pittsburgh, beat the Jets, and lost to the Patriots.
Yep.
And lost bad to the
That's
Patriots.
pretty damn good.
And I don't think he was a quarterback after that.
I don't think he was.
Anyway.
Hold on. Moving on here. So the Aaron Rodgers officially today began his darkness retreat.
I want to go with him. I want to go with Aaron Rodgers to the darkness retreat and smoke peyote with Bruce.
Why me?
Because
He's in the darkness.
That's pretty deep. I wouldn't do that.
I'm going to come up out of the pond
Crazy
like
stuff, man.
like Martin Sheen did in Apocalypse Now, and all you're going to see is my eyes with fucking pain on my face talking about are you an assassin?
There was a lot of talk about Andy Reid possibly retiring after this. He has come out and said that he is not. So Andy Reid
He's not
will be
retiring.
back.
He said he was fired up, ready to go.
He's
So,
ready to
you
go.
know, we'll see what happens.
Panthers hired Jim Caldwell as a senior
Oh,
defensive
my
assistant.
Lord and Christ in hell. How do they keep regurgitating these guys? I mean, come on.
There's
Jim
nobody else.
Caldwell? Jim fucking Caldwell? I get it. He's a nice guy. I get it.
Good
At
dude.
least he's just a consultant and not actually on the books as anybody doing anything.
Yeah.
People close to the Jets organization say they are not opposed to bringing in quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo to start out next year.
You know, Jimmy
Obviously-
Garoppolo's going to land somewhere. You're going to have a lot of quarterbacks on the move. You still got to figure out what's going to go on with Lamar Jackson
Well,
there.
yeah, here you go. So just off the bat, Lamar Jackson obviously could move. I don't
He
think he's
wants
going
out of fucking Baltimore.
I don't think
he does
that's
not
gonna
want
matter.
to be there.
I think he's going to get tagged, and then he's going to have to make a decision whether he plays or not. I don't
Correct.
think that's going to happen. Rodgers, Green Bay already said that they know he don't want to fucking be there, so they're probably going to move on from him.
He's either not going to be there or not play.
Correct.
I don't believe that. I personally don't believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to go to another
I'd take
team.
him here.
I
for a
do.
year.
I do.
I
But-
really don't. We got to see how stoned he gets from his darkness retreat.
Yeah.
How fucking high is he going to be? And
He's
I
gotta go
personally
find his
think
path.
if he returns, he's going back to the Packers.
He did say yesterday Green Bay's been his home of 18 years, and it would be hard to leave. So
Yeah.
let's just
Listen, he's gonna find
And
his
he
path
said
on this journey.
And
he's
he
going
said
on,
that his
okay?
darkness retreat, he's pissed off at a couple of writers, Ian Rappaport being one of them,
yeah, and Schefter.
that he's not
Both of
happy with either one of these guys because of the bullshit stories they're fucking reporting. He goes, none of them know him. None of them know the people that he consults with. So for these guys to make assumptions on what he's fucking doing officially irritated the living shit out of him. And I think he wants to kill both of them.
So Jackson, Rodgers, Tannehill is going to be on the move. Derek Carr.
And I had heard that Tannehill is a good line to be. There was a team that really liked him. Oh, who was it? I was fucking reading it and I forgot who it was.
Derek Carr, obviously, and Jimmy Garoppolo, all going to be moving on. So there's going to be a lot of veteran QBs out there. Now, all of them have connections in some way, shape, or form in the Jets.
I heard the
outside of
Jets
Lamar
actually
Jackson.
had high hopes on Tannehill.
Correct. But Robert Saleh, Jimmy Garoppolo, kind of makes a little bit of sense there if Rodgers is off the table for them, in my opinion.
So this
all about the way
actually
the cookie crumbles,
this free agency deal coming up could very well affect the draft.
Yes.
I think so.
Yes. I mean,
Especially if you're going to have veteran quarterbacks bounce into these places that need quarterback.
correct. So hypothetically, let's say that the Panthers are the ones that end up with Derek Carr. If you have Derek Carr and Sam Darnold there and PJ Walker, who, okay, granted, I don't think he's a starting quarterback, but played okay at times this year. I don't think you're going to draft a quarterback in the first round.
No. I don't
So-
see them. I really don't see Carolina drafting a quarterback regardless.
Neither do I.
I just don't. I think they love Sam Darnold. I think the young kid, Sam Howell, I have a feeling he'll come in there and battle for the fucking starting job, you know, and whoever wins it going forward does. They keep Darnold on as a emergency guy. And,
I don't want to burst your bubble here, but Sam Howell's on the Commanders.
I'm sorry, not Sam Howell. Who did I met? Fuck.
Oh, God. Here we
Kid
go.
that
again.
got hurt. Shut.
on the Jets.
No, on the
Oh,
Panthers.
Jesus
On the
fucking
Panthers?
Christ. Matt Corral.
Matt Corral.
Anyways.
Matt Corral's good in college.
Speaking of Sam Howell, the Commanders and Ron Rivera have announced that they're moving forward with him as their starting quarterback.
Nice.
What does that mean for
Taylor Heineke.
Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke?
Nobody cares about Carson Wentz.
I think Wentz's career is over
about done.
as a starter.
Practice squad.
Nah, not practice
What are you going to
squad.
do when the Detroit Lions sign him next year as their backup quarterback?
But I think the bigger question is, what does that mean for Taylor Heineke? Heineke came out and said that being a backup quarterback is the best job in the NFL. So I think he's good with it.
Because you get paid a lot of money and you don't have to play.
Yeah.
And nobody hates you for it.
I would love to have Heineke here.
People close to the Buccaneers organization and Levante David believe in Kyle Trask that he has the ability to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Levante David is a free agent, will not be on the fucking Tampa Bay Buccaneers next year.
Disagree wholeheartedly.
Okay.
Disagree wholeheartedly.
I'd be willing. Levante David could be a Detroit Lion.
I saw that.
Oh, God.
What?
I saw
You
something.
guys with these fucking boner takes. If the Lions sign Levante David, I will personally tattoo both your names on my ass on this show.
Oh,
Come on.
Yeah?
You think it's a good idea for the Lions to go out and spend fucking $17 or $18 million on a 35-year-old linebacker?
Did we ever figure out who won and lost
Let me
these
ask you a
bets?
question right now. If you had a choice between high school Anzalone
Don't even say
and
that
Levante
shit.
David,
Because
who would you
guess
let-
what?
who
There's
would
a
you
million-
rather have?
Guess what? You want to know what I'd rather see? I'd rather see the Lions make good on their mistake from the draft a few years ago and go sign Reuben Foster, who's making a comeback, for the fucking veteran minimum than I would them spend the fucking bank to bring in Levante David. Come on.
I would love to see Levante David as a Lion.
Anyway.
Teach these young guys how to these guys how to really play at a high level.
So I know
He still plays at a high level at 35 years
I'm
old.
aware, but at the end of the day, you're bringing him in for 1 year where you're not going to fucking go deep into the playoffs, because as much as everybody wants to crown the Lions already because they're 10th in odds, they're not making a fucking Super Bowl next year. As much as you want to do that, you're going to spend a shitload of capital to bring in a guy that's going to be here for 1 fucking year. Go out and build it the right way.
I agree.
Okay. The Jets. We didn't talk about MVP or NFL honors because we missed Monday's show.
God.
But Jets took both Rookie of the Years. I'm not going to sit here and talk about MVP because they'll have.
I did not know Sauce Gardner was from here.
Yes, he is.
No, that's because Patrick Mahomes did not deserve MVP.
Okay. Sauce Gardner wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. Garrett Wilson wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. Do you believe that the Jets, number one, have the best core of young players in the NFL right now?
I believe that they're one of the teams that have best core players. I do.
You're like a politician. I swear to God. I ask you a question and you do everything in your power to dodge giving me a straight answer.
I just gave you a fucking straight answer.
No.
I believe they're one of the
I
best
believe that they
young
have
teams
one of the
out there.
No, are they the best?
What are your top
Are
five?
they the best?
No, because I would say Jacksonville's a little bit ahead of them.
Okay, thank you. So the
Okay.
answer is no.
No.
Okay. But do you believe
I said they are one of the best.
do you believe that having both Rookie of the Years, Quinnen Williams, who received Defensive Player of the Year votes,
He's what, third year? There you go.
do you think that this core will lead the Jets to a Super Bowl?
Depending on what they do with the quarterback situation.
Oh, bro.
Depending on what they do with the quarterback situation.
Bruce?
What was the question? I got distracted.
Do you believe that this core of Jets young players will lead them to a Super Bowl?
They could, yeah. Yeah, they could. And defense wins championships, yeah.
I agree with him. I think in 2 years' time, you could see this Jets team where this Philadelphia team was right now. Because if we go back 2 years, yeah.
They ain't going to be able to handle Kansas City, though, right?
Well, no, if Philadelphia didn't, then the Jets probably won't either. Moving on. Micah Parsons did not receive one first-place vote for Defensive Player of the Year.
That's
Do
ridiculous.
you think
That's fucking ridiculous.
He said no to your question.
he didn't answer it?
He didn't answer?
Yeah.
What?
He said depending on what they do with the quarterback situation.
You said Mecca Parsons didn't receive.
The question
with
was,
the Jets.
could the
question was
defense
Jets.
lead them?
Yeah, but
Right.
as-
What did I say?
right after
that
I
went
told
right
did I
over his
say?
right
fucking
after
head.
I told him he dodges
What the-
every
what the
question,
fuck?
he dodged the fucking question. So I
You
just
think
left
they
it
can make
alone.
it to a Super Bowl? No, if they don't address your quarterback situation,
That's not
no.
the question.
Anyways, moving on. Micah Parsons did not receive one first-place vote for Defensive Player
ridiculous.
of the Year. Do you think he should have, or do you think Micah Parsons is held on such a high pedestal because of the Cowboys bias?
I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know. I
It's
don't
not a
understand
fact-
why.
God, this is like masturbating with a cheese grater today. It's not a factual
third
question.
time I've heard
It's
that.
supposed to be your opinion.
In my opinion, I don't understand why he's not getting the votes. He's dominant. He was dominant
I
during the
agree.
year. I don't get it.
I think that he
I think the team not being successful is hurting him.
I agree with that because they were on. I was reading this article and it was talking about how Micah Parsons has a bias and everybody thinks he's so great because he's on the Cowboys. But if you see what's actually happening on the field, I don't know how you could think that. The guy is an absolute animal, and I think I get it. You know, Nick Bosa had a very nice year, but I don't think he was 40 votes better than Micah Parsons.
I don't either.
Personally.
I don't either. I think Bosa actually missed a few games and stuff where Parsons has been fairly durable. I don't understand it. I really don't.
The 49ers quarterback competition is going to obviously be one to keep an eye on. George Kittle says that it's Brock Purdy's job to lose. Do you believe that? And do you believe that Kyle Shanahan is sold on Purdy and not willing to either find a different option or he's going to revert back to giving Trey Lance that job?
You know what? It's hard to say right now. You got to figure out what they're going to do there. It's going to be him or Lance. Here's the thing. Is Purdy going to be ready for when the season starts?
It's going to be a big
There's a
question.
timetable that's going to
6 months.
yes.
So that has
that-
him missing, voluntaries and stuff like
Correct. And that means he's going to come out rusty. Trey Lance will be ready by then
that. Yes.
and ready to go. Garoppolo will be gone. It wouldn't surprise me if they draft a guy in this fucking draft coming up.
Maybe a little insurance policy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they did it last year.
Geno Smith won Comeback Player of the Year.
Totally deserved it.
I agree. Totally deserving. But did he do enough this year to, one, lock up the Seattle Seahawks starting position, or two, be a mainstay as far as starting quarterbacks go in the NFL?
I think the jury's still out on Geno. Personally, I think he had a great year. It kind of fell apart at the end there. He kind of lost his composure and was not as effective as he's been. But I think he's kind of secured the job there, and they got Drew Lock behind him. I think they're going to run with him.
I think they are.
I do. And I think they got a promising future. Listen, they got a couple of fucking draft picks in this next draft coming up. They got a great young core of corners there, defensive backs. They got a nice core of defensive linemen there. Offensively, they got two bookend tackles that they drafted last year, and I just think they're going to get better.
I mean, here we are. At the end of the day, there was nobody who was really giving Seattle a chance at anything this year, and Seattle was a playoff team.
I agree.
Nobody gave Seattle a snowball's chance in hell anything. I truly thought I thought Seattle was a 3 or 4 win football team, and they proved everybody wrong. So, yeah, I think Geno Smith did lock
I think
up
we
that
all
job.
thought Seattle was going to be in the
Shit
dumpster.
show. Yeah.
They proved us wrong.
Jamar Chase and people close to the Bengals have came out and said that they believe Burrow is going to take less money and sign a team-friendly deal to keep the band together in Cincinnati. 2 questions there. 1, do you think he'll do that? And 2, do you think the age of quarterbacks doing that, because, I mean, we saw Tom Brady do it for 20 years. And honest to God,
And that's why Tom
outside
Brady
of
was.
that-
That's why Tom Brady's where he's at today and has all the Super Bowls.
is the age of quarterbacks doing that going away?
I think you'll see him do it.
You think Burrow will do it?
Yes, I do.
Honest to God,
I don't think
agree with you.
Burrow's going to have enough in endorsements because he's kind of the cute white boy, and he's getting all the attention, and he's trying to be cool and fly.
America's
and all
sweetheart.
that. I'm sorry.
It's America's sweetheart, right?
Yeah, he's trying to be cool and fly, and trying to be Joe Montana today. He's better looking, and I think he's got a lot to go forward with, man. I think he's going to be very, very good, actually.
All right. And last question I'm going to ask on today's show. Hall of Fame was announced, the 2023 class, and I'm not going to sit here and go through it because
I want to hear it.
No, because you're going to sit here and argue about Rondé Barber, and we're up against the clock. And I don't want to really hear it right now, to be brutally honest.
All right.
But the one snub that I thought happened was Devin Hester, who is regarded as probably the best return specialist of all time.
I'd put him as
Deservingly so. And he did not get on his first ballot. Do you think that he was snubbed?
Yes.
I mean, I was sitting there thinking
Yes, I
about
do.
it.
He has
like,
more return touchdowns than any guy in NFL history.
how do you not
How do you put a corner in there that's average at best?
put Devin
over him?
Hester in there? Do you have anything
I just
to add?
asked a question.
What?
How do you put a corner in there with average numbers at best
Here we go.
in front of him?
Go ahead, Rand.
Because
go
he
ahead.
won a Super
Get the
Bowl?
Rondé Barber thing out here.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm telling you.
That's all I said.
You
I just
disagree
thought
that Rondé Barber
I
should be
thought
in the
you would
Hall of Fame.
appreciate that.
What?
That I just said. How could you put a guy average at best in front of him?
I mean, I think you're discrediting Rondé Barber a little bit.
Do you?
I do.
I'm not trying to.
Well, but
I just don't think he's Hall worthy. That's all.
I mean,
I'm not trying to be an asshole about it.
you know,
I don't think thought there was two guys in this class that are not Hall worthy.
5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first team All Pro.
Yeah.
Was the same team for 15 years.
All the guys were back then.
Most
All the
consecutive
guys were
starts
back then.
by
You see guys move around.
most
like that.
consecutive starts by a defensive back. Won a Super Bowl. NFL All-Decade team. No.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, I thought he was solid. Do I think he's Hall worthy? In my opinion, he was not.
Well.
You know.
So
There
Who
you
else is
know if
who else in that class is making it?
what class?
This class.
Who else is in?
Yeah. And I'll tell you if they deserve it right now.
Okay. Let's see. 2023 Hall of Fame finalists. Jared Allen.
Jared Allen.
Yep.
You know who Jared Allen is?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yes, he deserves it.
Willie Anderson. Offensive tackle, Cincinnati Bengals.
He was there for a long time. Had a long
9
career.
years. Yep.
Yeah. ahead.
Rondé Barber. Obviously, we
Go
know
ahead.
your thoughts on that. Dwight Freeney.
Do you think Dwight Freeney deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? He was a dominant guy
He
at
was
one
dominant.
time.
And I
Yes.
mean, he was in the league for
Yeah.
almost 20 years.
Yeah. As a defensive lineman, that's impressive.
Devin Hester obviously was left off.
Right.
Andre Johnson also was left off.
I still don't understand that.
Darrell
'Cause he didn't
Revis.
win anything.
Darrell Revis.
Well, Darrell Revis, hello. Revis Island.
1,000%. Yeah. Joe Thomas.
Joe Thomas, what can you say?
Yeah. One of the best left tackles ever.
Fucking ever to play the game.
Zach Thomas.
I love Zach Thomas. Loved the way he played. The true quintessential thumper. But I don't think his numbers don't add up. I mean, the guy had 100 tackles a year for like 8 years. He was one of the top guys at his craft at the time. But you know what?
Yeah, but isn't that
Do you
why
think
give
he's
it to him?
Hall worthy? You think he's Hall worthy? He never won a fucking Super Bowl.
I'm not that familiar with him.
I mean,
so I'm not
I know
gonna-
you're not. It's a little bit before your
But
time.
one guy
I
I'm
love
familiar
him.
with.
But if he
I love
changed
him,
the
and I'm
game,
telling you right now, to me, he's not Hall
So
worthy.
you're saying he changed the game though, with the way he played.
Who did?
The guy you're talking about.
Zach Thomas changed the game of what?
I don't know the way.
No,
you're
he
talking
didn't. He
about
was
it.
an undersized linebacker that played with all heart. That's it.
DeMarcus Ware, I think he deserves it.
Well, I mean, come
100%.
on, dude.
Yep.
All the years with the
Wholeheartedly.
Cowboys, goes to Denver, wins a fucking Super Bowl. What are you gonna say?
Chuck Howley.
Fuck.
All right. We are going to come back to you guys with one more episode before we take a little hiatus. We got some big things coming over that hiatus, so stay tuned. We'll be back with you guys either at the end of this week or the beginning of next. Not 100% entirely sure yet, but we will get that figured out, and we will be back with one more episode before we go on our hiatus. Kind of a chance to recap our first season of Tipped Balls. So stick with this one more episode. I know you're probably sick of hearing about football, but we got to come back with at least one more. Anything to add?
I hope you guys enjoyed the first year of our coverage of
This
the
is
NFL.
the last episode. I just said that.
I hope everybody's enjoyed it. Keep watching.
All right.
You're in
Panthers
for a
fired their
retreat.
head coach.
What?
Michigan Panthers.
That's it.
Okay.
Josh,
Please don't
wasn't
say
it-
it. Please. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of the Tip Balls podcast. We will be back again with one more episode before we conclude season 1. Please follow our socials, Instagram at Tip Balls, Twitter at Tip Balls, TikTok at Tip Balls Podcast. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music, check us out on YouTube and remember to subscribe. Again, big things coming up, so please check out our socials. Thank you so much for listening. You will hear from us again very soon.